Good morning. How is everyone doing? I'd like to take the time to welcome you to another Morning Glory Apostolic Prophetic Center video. Today we're going to talk about the purpose in pain. The purpose in pain. And we're going to be in 1 Samuel chapter 1 as we discuss this matter because many of us, we are at odds within ourselves, our environment, people, our jobs, and our business because they're not producing the way we think they should, because they're not reacting the way we think they should, because they're not doing things the way we think they should. So, what we have to understand is that a lot of times we have to have a mental block in which we know that anything God's bring to us, we're going to have to work for it, and there's going to be pain associated with receiving what He asks of us. There's going to be hardships and there's going to be trials. But we have to be mindful that in our quest to get what God wants us to have, that we don't find ourselves at war with God while He's trying to give us what we have. So here, as we transition over to 1 Samuel, we're going to talk about Hannah and Peninnah, in which one of them was able to bear children and the other was not. So we're going to use these similarities to bring an understanding that just because somebody is able to reproduce before you rather, that you're not, it does not mean that you can't produce. 1 Samuel 1 says, there was a certain man of Ramathaim Zophim of the mountains of Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tehu, the son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. And he had two wives. The name of one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. So what we got to look in our life, we got to understand that scripture said it's a certain man. You got to know there's always a strategic time and place and position that God may have any of us in at any time. Just because we don't understand His plans does not mean He is not positioning us for His plan. So when it talks about a certain man, you can't look at somebody else's life and want their life, because the life they have might not be the life God wants you to have. The life they have that you want, God may give you more than what they got. You can't look at my ministry and the way I do it and say you want to be like that, because God may not want you to be like that. You have to look and say, I need to get close to God so He can show me who I am. See, what's wrong in the religious world of the day, everybody, what that song Young Jesus used to say, everybody want to put on for the city, which means everybody want the spotlight. Everybody want to go viral. Everybody say if you want to sow a seed, but nobody knows if they're being positioned strategically because they looking at wealth. They looking at people being elevated. They looking at who they connected to. Watch, he went on a long list of sons, 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 sons. So watch this. That were a constant flow of reproducing in his bloodline, but yet one person can't produce. You know, I had a long talk with my son yesterday. Long talk, long talk. I ain't gonna say long talk, but it felt long because he asked me for some money the other day and I sent it to him. But then I had to scratch my head. I said, wait a minute, when I was just down now, did I give you money? He said, yeah, Dad, but I had to go pick up my son and all that. And I said, Dimitri, I said, I don't bother you much because I understand your mental makeup, the being bipolar, PTSD from being in jail. I said, but just like God, I said, I won't be a father if I don't say nothing to you. What you talking about, Dad? I said, Dimitri, every time you get money, you spend it on whatever you want to spend it on. I said, we paying your phone bill. I said, we paying your life insurance. We paying your car insurance. I said, your car break down. I said, mostly me, I'm fixing your car. I said, but you sit at home and we out here working and all you got to say, hey, can I have? I said, but when you get money, you don't offer us nothing. I said, Dimitri, even down to your son. I said, you call me and tell me you're going to pick up your son. And I said, you asked me for money. I said, that's your son, boy. I said, now, because he said something to me. He said, Dad, I don't want to feel like I'm asking for you too much. I said, you can never ask me too much because you're my son. I said, but I just want to know in your asking, you ain't producing nothing. Reproducing. So I said, so I'll do anything I can for you. That's how you need to be with your son because that's how God is with me. A long line of producing, but sometimes he ain't producing. He said, Dad, he said, I be sitting here and feeling sorry for myself because I feel like I can't do nothing. He said, I was telling that to the girl the other day. I said, go to God and get a plan, man. I said, all you need is a plan. I said, don't never think that you asking me for too much. I said, don't never think. I said, how old you is? 31. I said, in 31 years, can you remember? I said, have you ever came to me? And I said, no. He said, no, Dad. I said, exactly. And see, for a lot of us, the reason that we failing is that because we try to put God in a place that he's supposed to give us everything we ask for. And when we give it to us, for many of us, we don't know what to do with it. So here, he talks about that Elkanah was going to make an offering. And when he left, he would give portions. I don't even like saying that word. It reminds me too much of that woman. Yeah, but I got to say it. He would give portions to Panana. I'm so petty. Yeah. He gave portions to Peninnah, his wife, and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah, he would give a double portion, for he loved Hannah, although the Lord had closed her womb. Watch this. So he would give to the wife that was producing, he would give her what's coming. But to the one that it says he loved, he would give more to her because she didn't have the ability to reproduce. See, a lot of times when your ministry ain't growing right, the marriage ain't going right, it's because you really in love, you really faithful. So God gives you more chances to do what come natural to everybody else. See, I can't, I wasn't taught how a man should treat a woman. I never seen it. I wasn't taught how you give compliments or something like that. So a lot of people that know me. If I give you a compliment, you know it's genuine. You don't hear me getting them out. Why would I give a compliment? Because God would tell me, he said, they did a good job. I said, yeah, God, they did. And I will repeat it. I said, boy, that show was good. And what's happening, because some of us don't really understand people, we got a constant battle between people who reproduce one way and the other person who can't reproduce at all. So when we understand, it says, and her rival also provoked her. See, you got to watch people who make fun of you because what you can't do. You got to watch people who try to make you do what you don't want to do. See, because a lot of us have no spiritual foundation, we are constantly uh, 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 we constantly have to see things naturally because we can't see it spiritually. So here, Hannah would make fun of her. It says severely, to make her miserable. See, listen here. If I never get married again, it won't make me miserable. If I never have another child again, if I never preach another word, if I never get invited to another place, nothing would make me miserable. You got to watch people who become miserable because they don't have or get what they want. You got to watch people whose communication really show you who they are. You got to watch people who try to manipulate you into feeling bad about who you are. That's why I love the track record I leave behind. I don't force nobody. I make a little fun every now and then. But my main goal is to get you into the spirit of who God is not the natural understanding of the things that we see day to day. So watch this. He gave her a double portion, but she wept and did not eat. See, a lot of y'all, you have to watch throwing away something that God gave you because you don't feel like it's what you deserve, because you don't feel like they ain't doing what you need them to do, because they ain't giving you what they want to give you. Man, bump that. I didn't live my life too reckless without God than to bring him in my life and still real reckless toward God. Man, I look at the state of it. I look at the state I am now. I said, God, I got a lot of repenting to do because I didn't look behind the spirit of what I was doing. I just did what I seen and felt. I'm trying to tell y'all, even when you hear God, sometimes what you long for, you often go for it, but you got to pay attention to the spirit of it. The spirit of what you see is the root of who they are. And for a lot of us, in certain ways, we like Hannah. Our womb closed. See, I don't want, listen here. I've been saying a lot of things about men, but I got a, ooh, this book here gonna be probably the best one I ever wrote about me. And I'm looking, and I'm gonna have to be transparent in it. See, when the Lord closes up the womb, that means he closes up the ability to reproduce. Okay. Closes it. See, as a man, you got to watch a woman who call you emotionally unavailable. Maybe God closed your womb. Maybe that ain't the woman to open up your emotions. So when God closes our womb to something, that means we don't have the ability to reproduce what we see other people reproducing. You know, I look at my grandson now. I remember y'all, I don't talk about him much, but I remember teaching on it that even when he was born and my son told me, I didn't feel no love. I didn't feel no happiness. I didn't feel no, ooh, I'm finna be a granddaddy. But I'm looking at everybody else. And they how they saying my first grandchild, this and that. And I'm saying, God, well, why I ain't like that? Why I ain't happy? Why I don't feel that there? He closed up my womb to it. And when you understand as a man or a woman, if God closed up your womb or the ability to reproduce something, don't you get depressed? Don't you fight to do something because somebody wants you to do it? Because here, watch this. Let's just take the ex for example. I guess I got to use that one. You don't show me affection. You don't show me this. You don't show me this. If it if the ability to reproduce something is not in a person, that's not that person's fault. We got to go to the maker. And see, when you in situations, men, especially with women, who trying to get you to reproduce these levels of affection that maybe some men have and some men don't, then watch this. You get grieved in your spirit because sometimes you may want to, but the ability to reproduce it ain't in you. Now you grieve because they going to give you grief because what you ain't doing. And what comes next? Well, they don't love me. They don't do that. And then they go find somebody else. You know, they go to talking on the phone, sending a text message. You know how y'all do. See, that's why we got to understand that when you see somebody can do something freely and you can't, like I was talking about the grandson, I can't fault nobody. It ain't about no generational curse. It ain't about out God built me this way. It's about God shed the wound. See, now, if you live for God like I live for God, and if God say I can't do a certain thing, why does a person keep trying to make you do it? Make you show it? We got to be careful in this season. I was listening to a man on TikTok. I don't see him all the time. You know what this man said? He said we got to be careful in this season. God got us at spiritual attention or something like that. Ain't this what I've been telling y'all? I said, make sure your spirit right. Make sure you can hear God. Make sure you just. I sent my friend a inbox early this morning. God told me to send it to him. I said the storm only caused. I forgot how I said it. Let me see if I still got it. Because it was early this morning. I said, ooh, that was good too. You know, I be amazed at myself as I sit here sometimes and God tell me to tell somebody something. And I sit down and I look at it after I didn't see it. I said, in a storm, rain only affects those that are scared to get wet. In a storm, rain only affects those that are scared to get wet. What that mean? You know what that means? It means that many of you living a life of fear because you don't believe you will get what you desire. So every time it doesn't seem like you're going to get what you desire, you enter into fear. You enter into doubt. And you don't know if God closed your ability to reproduce. See, you got to understand, there's always going to be a war in us when we see somebody doing better than us. But why is there no war in us when we see somebody doing less than us? That's when you win the war. That's why I talked yesterday. He said, look one another on a person's own thing. When you see somebody below you, your battle is how can I help them to bring them up? We don't want to bring nobody up because we don't want no attention. So here we see Panah constantly doing things to Hannah because Hannah can't do it. Ain't nothing worse. Can I be honest? Real honest. Ain't nothing worse than a man who want to show love and don't know how to show love, but then he keeps being forced to show that he can love. Boy, this gonna be a good book. I done been down through there while I've been preaching the gospel. The compromises I made in my relationship with God, the things I've done for the sake of other people happiness and trying to show that it's a lot, y'all. Buy the book. Shoot. You ain't finna get that for free. 15.50. You can pay me now, pay me later. But you gonna get it. But you ain't getting it for free. Now you might get it for free if I'm somewhere talking. And you know how sometimes you're talking, you just got to do what the Holy Spirit say. Then Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Hannah, why do you weep? Why do you not eat? And why is your heart grieved? Am I not better to you than 10 sons? So Hannah arose after they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh. Now Eli the priest was sitting on the seat by the doorpost of the tabernacle of the Lord, and she was in bitterness of soul, and prayed to the Lord and wept in anguish. Then she made a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if you would indeed look on the affliction of your maidservant, and remember me, and not forget your maidservant, but would give your maidservant a male child, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall come upon his head. See, a lot of times you got to ask the hard question when you see a person hurting. And here Elkanah said, Am I not better your intent son? So we can see that he loved her, but he was insensitive to her. See, if a man got needs, if a woman got needs, and you recognize that they can't fulfill their needs, why hold on? Why hold on? Why terrorize a person when you seeing you ain't getting what you want? See, love goes beyond the physicality of what y'all consider love of. See, love goes beyond sex. It goes beyond patting butts and pulling panties. I was listening to Shannon Sharp and having sex in the car. That's not love, y'all. It's the spiritual aspect of what you seek that you cannot see, but can put it together if you see what's not seen. So he couldn't see how hurt she was. So he added to the hurt by watch this. I can't give you no son, but I ain't good to you. You know what I hate in a relationship? People be saying, I didn't gave you this. I didn't give. Who gives a flying flip? That's what a relationship is about. Giving and taking. Now they want to take inventory of how much they gave and what they did and what Brother Hubbard don't care. You know how much listen here. If I can get back half the money that I done wasted on these heathens and these so-called women of God and women, that don't matter. So now you basing a part of what you call love is based on what you done gave. Hmm. I be telling y'all, watch how people react when they don't get what they want. You will see who they are. Anybody can be happy when you get what you want, but let's see how you act when you don't get what you want. So she prayed to the Lord, her first mistake. She prayed to the Lord with bitterness in her heart. See, ooh, this so good, this so good. I'm gonna have to put this in the book. When you pray with bitterness in your heart, you don't understand. You're not praying with love in your heart. Yeah. Now watch this. Here it come. Y'all ready for the sludge hammer? Why is it often when you, as men and women of God, not in God, because y'all bitter, why is it that when you break up with a man or a woman, you go to immediately and pray to God, God, give me what I can deserve. Give me this, give me that. You're bitter. And when you bitter, you say things out of bitterness. Ooh, and great anguish. She did the right thing, but she had the wrong heart. Because you do know Hannah was Samuel's mom. And we see how Samuel ended up. See, a lot of your relationships are not going to go the way you want it because a lot of you prayed out of bitterness, anger, hurt, depression. The word said, go to the throne of God boldly, not bitterly, not hurting. So a lot of the things that many of you got, the reason you feeling bitter, the reason you feel angry, the reason you doing this is because you reaping what you sowed to God. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Of course you did. That's why Brother Hubbard teaches you. See, that's why when I was breaking up and getting a divorce, I didn't seek no woman. What I told y'all to, I said, God, I'm just gonna be a whore. Bitterness, anger, confusion. Well, God, you better stop me from preaching because they're gonna call me the whorish preacher. This is what I say to God now. I ain't ashamed. I ain't studying no woman, God. They only good for one thing. But I never prayed for something. Well, why would I pray if I know I got emotions and feelings running through my heart? That means I would have got the same thing that I'm feeling because you're spiritual first, not natural. So a lot of things y'all got, the reason you can't get what you want is because God looks at your heart posture. Now, he'll give you something to let you know he hear you. But you got to reap what you sow because your heart wasn't right. So she made a vow. Now, she made a vow out of with anger and bitterness. See, we got to be careful when we're in a state of hurt, when we're in a state of ourselves, when we're in a state we can't figure it out, and we just blurt out to God, well, God, you do this, because I won't do it no more. Yep. And see, some of y'all forcing people to do something, forcing people to show you things, forcing people to give you things to soothe your heart, but you prayed for it with a bitter soul, an angry spirit. a hurt mindset. Well, this stuff deeper than y'all ever know. That's why I say I ain't got time for these elementary school teachers. I'm telling you, your life deeper than what it's deeper than what. Listen here, this stuff run deep. Cause we got to be more spiritual than natural because we finna go through a transformation spiritually. And if you don't hear the voice of God, a lot of you go miss what God got for you. So she said, give me, see, watch this. Give me a husband. You know why you want a husband? You know why you want a wife? Just because you can show somebody else you need a husband and a wife. And watch this. Some of us claim to be ready for stuff that we know we ain't ready for. What you mean, Brother Hubbard? Y'all know what I mean. Cause when the rubber hit the road, a lot of you got mismatched ties. You got an all season, you got a cold, you got a summer, and some of you got that little donut on there. You ain't stable. You ain't got no foundation. You don't even know your purpose. I wish I was, listen, well, that'd be good. I be watching the world doing that 20 versus 1. I would do that. I would get up there and get 20 women that say they ready for marriage. And I would ask each one of them, how you know you ready? I guarantee you all of them will fail. Because guess what? When you listen to a woman that say they ready for marriage, they are, if you listen to all of them, the ones in the church, they gonna say the same thing. The ones in the world, they gonna say the same thing. But you never hear one come straight to you and say, God told me I'm for you because I need to do D, A, B, C, D. You won't see it. And if you do see it, it's very rare. So we hang on to be people because they satisfy our natural needs and urges, but they are not compatible spiritually. So here it goes on to verse 12. And it happened as she continued praying before the Lord that Eli watched her mouth. Now Hannah spoke in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Though therefore Eli thought she was drunk. So Eli said to her, how long will you be drunk? Put your wine away from you. See, y'all got to watch the leaders that you call leaders. They don't know who you are, what you're going through, what you need, what you may have, where you need to go, and they just assuming they doing it right. Thank God for Brother Hubbard. Y'all can go and say thank God for Brother Hubbard. I ain't bragging. 20 some years, I ain't never been wrong because I listen to God. Told you a couple of weeks ago, I be sitting around here, okay, God, make sure I'm teaching right. God, have I said anything wrong? God, if I'm treating them wrong? God, because see, when a leader really cares about your soul, a leader prays to God to make sure that they leading your soul right. Half of y'all, they leading y'all to hell, leaving y'all to them, and y'all just back there like vanilla ice cream, scooping it up. Man, I didn't want to do this. But if I'm gonna do this, I ain't finna be around here just making up stuff as I go. That's why I'm very meticulous, whether it be a church, an individual, a fellowship. When they call Brother Hubbard, you don't know when I'm coming. You don't know what I know. You don't know what I see. Because that's how I get you how you need to be. Hey, you need to do A, B, C, and D. You know what's funny? You know what's funny? It's amazing how a person can go in a place and tell them what's wrong, what's right, and this and that. And the leader, if they're a God, they agree with you, and they say, "Yeah, I felt I was going wrong. Thanks for pointing that out." I got some that'll say, "Yeah, you're right," but they'll never do anything. So he said, "How long will you be drunk?" The question is, how long y'all gonna misunderstand who you are? How long you gonna misunderstand you in the wrong place? How long you gonna understand and misunderstand you in the wrong relationships? How long you gonna misunderstand that you didn't treated the very people God sent to help many of you? That's the very person y'all tearing down. So here, she got a man of God that don't know God. You know why most people miss who God really had for them? Because when you pray, a lot of y'all, let's just be, when y'all be saying these man of God, I want a woman of God, a lot of times y'all just want people that go to church and read the Bible. Men like me, you ain't gonna say anything to me. You ain't gonna do anything around me. You ain't gonna backtalk me. You ain't gonna treat me any kind of way. Cause just because I don't say nothing, don't mean I don't see everything. Man and God. Oh, ex-wife, you think you got away with such and such and some she said. All I had to do was turn around. You thought you got away with dot 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 dot. I don't say nothing, but I should have said something. Should have. I don't listen here, y'all. Don't I tell y'all we can't get away with nothing just because sometimes a natural eye can't see it. God got an angel assigned to each one of us, and they sitting there writing it down. I never think I got away with nothing. And why you gonna bring up something 10, 15 years old? See, people like that, that shows you that's a spirit of unforgiveness, which leads to a spirit of bitterness, which leads to a spirit of resentment, which leads to what? Lack of respect. Verse 15. But Hannah answered and said, "No, my Lord, I am a woman of sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor intoxicating drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord. Do not consider your maidservant a wicked woman, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief I have spoken until now." Then Eli answered and said, "Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant you your petition which you have asked of him." And she said, "Let your maidservant find favor in your sight." So the woman went her way and ate, and her face was no longer sad. See, y'all got to learn how to tell these leaders when they wrong. But make sure they wrong. Don't be prideful and tell somebody wrong because you didn't got caught and you convicted. See, She didn't respond in a haughty or arrogant tone like some of you women. All that back talk. Don't nobody want no dumb woman with all that dumb mouth. And we don't want no sassy men, old simps. See, how, watch this now. I'm gonna give out amnesty for this one, because a lot of y'all don't know. So just change. Eli was the priest. If you married that man, the priest of your house, you ain't got no business cussing the priest out. You ain't got no business back talking the priest. You ain't got no business trying to make the priest hear what you got to say. See, she explained herself, but if you look at the textual concept, is what we're going to say. She didn't get smart. She didn't raise her mouth. She did it in a gentle, loving manner. Let Brother Hubbard get married again, and one raised their voice at me. Shit. Cussing me out. Get haughty with me. Shh. That's why the world like it is. Y'all done let Megan Thee Stallion tell y'all to spell your name while you're riding, and you got the city girls, and they about to broke up. And now you got Sexy Red that scraping the bottom of the barrel. That's why. Listen here. You ain't a woman of God and you talking to the priest any kind of way. But I'm going to leave that alone. Because y'all want to be alpha females. Give honor to the woman, the weaker vessel. Keep going, alpha. Keep going. When you become weak, you'll get the man that you want. Ain't no man in God looking for no strong black female. I'm going to tell y'all that now. He ain't even looking for no queen. Because the Bible say, find a wife. Nobody looking for no queen. No black girl magic. We'll leave that alone. So what Hannah did, she poured her heart out to God. But she poured it out of a place of bitterness, out of a place of anguish. And that's okay to a point. But don't make no vow in that. See, when I get mad at God and we beefing, I just tell him how I feel. I don't sit there and pray, you know. Well, God, why I got to do this? Look at how they treat me. Look what they say about me. Why I got to do this? Sometimes he say something, sometimes he not. Because you know what? No matter how much I beef with him, at the end of the day, he gonna know I'm gonna do it because I heard it. Because I heard it. But so watch this. I'm gonna express my displeasure in doing it, but I'm gonna do it. I be laughing how sometimes people or send me something or say something to me, and they say, "Well, God already told me that what you gonna say or that what you gonna do." I laugh because what they fail to see, what God is trying to show you, that man know me. So if God tell you I'm gonna do something and I do it, that's what he's saying. I know him, he know me. That's the kind of relationship I want people to have that's around me. It hurted my heart a couple of months. I had to tell 5 people. I said, God said he can't trust you. God only gonna know you if he can trust you. And it's sad to say, a lot of those people still doing the same thing. That's why God can't trust them. I hope they ain't alive when this word of calm comes. Because they're going to be looking for answers. They're going to be looking for somebody to tell them what thus said the Lord. Because you do know, after we finish this shift back toward God, all the prophets are going to get silent. The apostles got to take over. And they ain't prophesying then. They just setting things in the, you going to listen or not. They ain't playing. I'm trying to tell you, they ain't going to play with you. Guess what? That's why it's good to have all 5 gifts. I might not be prophesying, but I'm sure going to be shedding some order. Why you think I'm already getting ready? I don't care if you don't listen to what I got to say. But it does me well when I see some people sitting at home. Brother Hubbard told me this. I wish I could call them. I wish I. You know what people miss? It's not that I'm anointed. People don't know. I be a real friend. See, I don't consider people friends that when you fall out or have a disagreement, now they want to tell everything y'all used to talk about. I'm glad I keep my mouth closed. So a lot of you need to watch how you pour your heart out to God. And maybe he'll respond to you. So what many of us need to understand is that we're coming into a place that you got to know what you're going through is not because you can't produce. It's that God had to make sure that you didn't produce how other people produce. You know, that's why I like the individuality of how he called me to ministry. You can't say I sound like nobody. You can't say I stole them from nobody. You can't say God ain't got no relationship with that guy. See, because I grew up when the church said you got to look and sound like the leader. That's a carbon copy. I grew up where they say you the next one need to buy them. You the next to the jail. Why I got to be the next when I can be myself? But people feed off that. That's why half of the women in ministry now, is that now? Yeah, half of the women in ministry now, if you look at most of them, from like 90 something to up to 2004, when that, every one of them sounds just like Juanita Bynum. Every one of them. Most of the men sound just like TD Jakes. Every one of them. That's a spirit. And a lot of you got to realize you got to make the turn with the spirit and sometimes leave man behind. Because man only gonna see you for how they see you. That's why Eli said, you drunk. See, a real person with a real relationship with God, they wouldn't perceive you as drunk. They will perceive you as hurt. So how can you have a real leader and you hurt, upset, depressed, and they don't know about it? Something wrong, and y'all got to fix it.